Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about something called the Worker's Writer, released by Tom Phoenix. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for spending some time with me today. So on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about a DIY project. This is something that you can make yourself. It's called the Worker's Writer, released by Tom Phoenix. So what is the Worker's Writer? Well, it is a secret writing device, and if you've been following my channel for some time, you will know that I really love this technique. It is one that I think it is really indispensable, right, to the mentalist. So I've previously spoken quite a bit about this technique on my channel. I think the most recent episode of this kind of a discussion was when I was doing an episode for the Easy Writer, that was put up by Franz some time ago. That is the writer that I am using now, actually, especially for my close-up work. But yes, it's something that I really love, and every time somebody tells me about a writing device of some kind, I'm immediately kind of interested. Right at the start of my mentalism journey, my education in mentalism, this is something that I stayed away from, learning this technique, because at that point in time, being young and thinking I knew it all, this thing didn't sound very exciting. It sounded very basic, very elementary, and boring as well. And so it took me quite some time before I actually got down to putting in the effort to get good at this particular technique, and because of that, not having this skill set in my toolbox, of mentalism techniques, the way I went about approaching performing effects sometimes tend to be a little bit long-winded, because I didn't like, or I didn't know exactly how to use secret writing techniques. And then came the day, I just decided to put in the effort, and put in the work, to get this thing to work out properly. And once I got pretty proficient at it, a whole new world, of possibilities opened up for me. So if you are quite new to mentalism, or if you are not that far along, and if you haven't yet gotten this particular technique down, I urge you to learn it, because it will be a skill that will serve you really well for the rest of your performing career. And as with any of these kinds of things, there's always this question, for example, if there's a wallet, if there's a mem deck, a writer, people will always ask the question about which is the best wallet, which is the best mem deck, which is the best writer, And my answer is always the same, Pick one and work at it, figure out how to use it. You might just get really good at it, or if you don't like it, at least you will then know what it is you don't like about it, and then you can go on and search for that new thing, the other thing that would probably suit you a little bit better. Okay, but long story short, pick one and really work at it. Okay, and then I think you will find all the answers that you need yourself. But anyhow, coming back to the Worker's Writer, okay, so the concept behind the Worker's Writer is that of a disposable Swami device. Okay, so this is something that you can literally just use once, and then just get rid of it immediately, flick it away, and off it goes. Okay, because there are times when, I suppose some of us have pretty expensive writers, or maybe not that expensive, but priced at least a little bit higher, And then, there's always that fear of kind of losing it, because it's really just so small, and it can really get just lost in your pockets and stuff, So in this case, because it's a disposable writer, you can just make up a lot at a go, carry a lot with you at a go, just use one of them once and just get rid of it. So what do you get when you purchase the Worker's Writer from Tom Phoenix? Well, it comes to you in a set of 4 videos. Okay, so I think the first video talks about credits, and the history behind this kind of thing. The second video talks about building the gimmick itself. The third one talks about using the gimmick. And there's a 4th video as well where Tom gives you, I think, what he calls a crash course, in using Swami techniques. So I think when it comes to this particular project, I think people would have some questions, right? Well, maybe 2 questions in mind, okay? Number 1, is it easy to make? right? And I've tried making up like, I think I made up like 3 or 4 of them just to, you know, have some fun and have a feel for how it plays out. And it's really easy to do, you know, easy to make. There is one little bit that I kind of used a different material, you know, than what Tom suggested, but you know, the concept is still his, and you know, it still works, right? So I really made it up with stuff that I have around the house, you know, whatever he kind of listed there. You probably might already have, you know, well, even if you don't have them, they are really easily available to you with just one trip to the stationery store. So yes, you know, it's really easy to make. It will just take a little bit of patience. There's a bit of waiting in between. But you know, once you are building it, you know, it's like you have your own little factory, you know, on your table, right, of just making up all these writers for yourself, you know, and you can make easily, I think, 30-40 of them at a go, you know, and you can actually just store them and bring them out with you as and when you need them. Tom also discusses with you how to carry these writers along with you. Okay, so, well, I think at a go, I would be comfortable carrying with me, you know, if I would ever use this, right? I'd probably carry with me about 10 of them. You know, I think they would easily just fit in my pocket. You know, Tom discusses a way that you can carry them with you, all right? About 10 of them, I think it's not a problem at all. They will also fit in your wallet, okay? So you can go to your wallet and remove, you know, a business card of some kind and procure your device during that time. So although this is kind of a disposable kind of a version of this prop, right? I believe actually you can get 3 to 4 users, you know, out of each unit before you have to kind of get rid of it. And the second question that people would probably have, one which I was interested to find out as well, right? Will this particular building technique work with grease lead? Right, you know, the thicker China markers, right, almost like crayon. And I made one of them up using that, and it works as well. Okay, so if you're concerned about, you know, using grease pencil, grease lead, yeah, it will work just as well. Although I think if using this particular technique to build, you know, the writer, I would just stick to pencil. So having built the units, right, then comes the question about, you know, how easy are they to use, you know, and they work surprisingly well. I'm not that, well, I've mentioned this before, you know, but when it comes to these sorts of devices, I'm not favoring the Boon style of writers, okay, which is basically what this is. A couple of reasons, you know, because this is kind of like, well, shall we say, stuck to you. Okay, so I've never had much confidence, you know, and the sense of security that I like to have when using these kinds of devices. Well, some of them in the past, you know, at least even those that were kind of marketed to be really stable, felt a little bit wobbly to me, you know, didn't feel secure, and I had problems with, you know, certain numbers and letters as well, you know, especially with things that had curves, right? The letter S, for example, or the number 8. Right? Straight lines, it's not really an issue, but you know, whenever I had curves, I was just really afraid of something just going, you know, flying off, right? So yeah, Boons didn't really, you know, appeal to me that much, you know, so I use, you know, different versions of these kinds of things. But the Workers writer is exactly that, all right? It's a Boon style kind of a thing. But because of the way this is designed, you know, I suppose, you know, and its disposable nature, right? The element, shall we say, okay, that kind of sticks to you, okay, it's quite secure, I think. You know, I can't go as fast as I can using the kind of devices that I'm used to using, you know, so I can't get the speed that I like to have, but it is secure, and as long as you're, you know, decently careful with it, it shouldn't go flying around all over the place. But yeah, you know, this is a really workable solution, you know, to creating this really important gimmick, you know, for the performing mentalist. I think it's good information to know as well. And, you know, seeing as how I do intend and hope that I can travel a bit more overseas to do my show, you know, and if I ever lose my writer, for example, I know that I can quite easily make up a couple of them for use, right, with just a visit to like a stationery store. So it's good knowledge, good information. The writer itself is easy to make. You can make a lot of them at a go, and easy to store and carry around as well. I'd like to thank Tom, for really kindly sending this over to me so that I can have a look at it and learn about it as well. And if you want to have a look at the Workers Writer, it's available on Tom's website at Skyward Magic. I will leave the link in the description box below. I think it is going for about $23 or so. Alright guys, but that's all I have for you on today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it as well. And till the next episode, do stay safe, take care of yourselves, have fun with your magic and your mentalism, and I'll see you on the next one.